Welcome back to another exciting lesson on irregular verbs with Mr. Sall. In this lesson, we'll dive deep into the fascinating world of English grammar and try to master those tricky irregular verbs. Irregular verbs do not follow the regular pattern of conjugation in English, where the past tense and the past participle are formed by adding the ed to the base form of the verb. Instead, irregular verbs have unique forms of the past tense and past participle. At first, note that conjugating irregular verbs correctly is crucial for effective communication. Without this knowledge, your speech or writing may sound awkward or unclear. Secondly, in terms of grammar, irregular verbs are a fundamental aspect of English. They demonstrate how verbs change to indicate different tenses, moods, and voices. Understanding how irregular verbs work is essential for constructing grammatically correct sentences. In terms of expressiveness, irregular verbs often carry nuanced meanings that can be easily conveyed with irregular verbs. For instance, consider the difference between run, past tense of run, and worked, past tense of work. Knowing when to use irregular verbs can add depth and precision to your language.
As for reading and comprehension, irregular verbs appear frequently in literature, newspapers, and other written materials. Being able to recognize and understand irregular verbs is essential for reading and comprehending English texts effectively. When it comes to writing, when you write in English, using irregular verbs correctly enhances the quality of your writing. It allows you to convey your thoughts and ideas more clearly and persuasively. In terms of standardization, irregular verbs are an integral part of the standardized English language. In academic and professional contexts, adhering to grammatical convention is crucial. Misusing irregular verbs can distract from your credibility. As for language proficiency, proficiency exams and language tests often assess a person's ability to use irregular verbs correctly. Whether you're taking an English proficiency exam like the TOEFL or using English in a professional setting, knowing irregular verbs well can make a significant difference in your performance. For cultural understanding, learning irregular verbs also exposes you to cultural nuances and idiomatic expressions in English. These expressions can be deeply rooted in the language and reflect the culture's story and values. Last but not least, conciseness, irregular verbs can sometimes make some sentences more concise. For instance, instead of saying I have eaten, you can use the irregular verbs eating to say I've eaten.
This brevity can be particularly useful in spoken language and casual writing. In summary, irregular verbs are vital components of English grammar and vocabulary. Mastery of irregular verbs is essential for effective communication, writing, reading, and understanding the language nuances. Whether you're learning English as a second language or striving for excellence in your native language, understanding and using irregular verbs correctly is a critical skill. Here is a list of common irregular verbs along with their past tense and past participle forms. Now it's time to come to the irregular verbs properly. In this session, we'll see the verb, meaning the irregular verb, its French meaning, and also the simple past and the past participle. If you're ready, let's get started. Be, être, was, been. Begin, commencer, began, began. Break, casser, broke, broken. Fall, tomber, fell, fallen, have, avoir, had, come, venir, came, come, do, faire, did, done, go, aller, went, gone, see, voir, saw, seen, come, venir, came, come, eat, manger, ate, eaten, drink, boire, drunk, drunk, drive, conduire, drove, driven, give, donner, gave, given, eat, manger, ate, eaten, freeze, gelé, froze, frozen, take, prendre, to, taken, break, briser, casser, broke, broken, choose, choisir, chose, chosen, fall, tomber, fell, fallen, write, écrire, wrote, written, begin, commencer, began, began, sing, chanter, sung, sung, swim, nager, swam, swam, write, écrire, wrote, written. Please note that this is not an exhaustive list and there are many more irregular verbs in English. Learning these irregular forms is an important aspect of mastering English grammar. These verbs are commonly used in both French and English, and their meanings remain consistent across the two languages. However, it's important to note that while the meanings are similar, there may be some variation in usage and idiomatic expressions between the two languages. That wraps up our lesson on irregular verbs with Mr. Sall, and I hope you found this session insightful and feel more confident in your English language skill. Keep practicing those irregular verbs, and I'll see you in the next lesson, inshallah.